What if I told you that the first 10 minutes after you wake up could change how well you speak English all day long?
Sounds impossible, right?
It's not. Today we're talking about morning routines, and by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly how to describe your own morning routine in English using real, natural phrases that native speakers use every single day.
So grab your coffee or your tea and let's get started. Welcome back to Rose and Jack Everyday English. We're so happy to have you again. I hope you learned something yesterday. This is day 2 of our 30-day B1 to B2 challenge. Today's topic, talking about morning routines in English. This is one of the most useful topics for anyone who wants to learn English speaking for real, everyday conversation. Let's jump right in.
All right, Rose, let's warm up our listeners with some key vocabulary. This is going to help them describe their own mornings with confidence.
Perfect. Let's start with the phrase, to wake up. This means to stop sleeping. For example, I usually wake up at 6:30 every morning.
Simple but important. Next one, to get up. This is different from waking up. Getting up means you actually leave the bed. You can wake up and stay in bed for 10 more minutes, but getting up means your feet are on the floor.
Great point. Example, I woke up at 6, but I didn't get up until 6:15.
Next phrase, to hit the snooze button. This means to press the button on your alarm so it rings again a few minutes later because you want a little more sleep.
We've all done that one. I hit the snooze button 3 times this morning, so I was almost late.
Let's move to a routine. A routine is a set of things you do regularly in the same order. For example, my morning routine includes a shower, breakfast, and checking my phone.
Next, to freshen up. This means to wash your face, brush your teeth, and generally get ready to feel clean and awake. Example, I like to freshen up before I even think about breakfast.
Good one. Now, here's a really useful phrase, to be a morning person. This describes someone who feels happy and full of energy early in the day.
I am definitely a morning person, and Jack, you are definitely not.
Guilty. The opposite would be a night owl, someone who feels more awake and active at night.
Let's add one more, to rush through something. This means to do something very quickly, often too quickly, because you don't have enough time. Example, I rushed through breakfast because I woke up late.
And finally, to ease into the day. This means to start your day slowly and calmly, without stress. Example, on weekends, I like to ease into the day with a slow breakfast and some music.
Those are our vocabulary words for today. Wake up, get up, hit the snooze button, a routine, freshen up, a morning person, a night owl, rush through something, and ease into the day.
Remember these phrases because we're going to use every single one of them in our stories today. This is exactly how you learn English speaking naturally, by hearing real words used in real context over and over.
Exactly. This is everyday English conversation at its best. Now, let's get into our stories.
So, Rose, I want to say a fact about myself that I am, 1, a night owl. My brain doesn't really turn on until about 10 in the morning.
That is so true. I remember when we worked together at that small marketing company a few years ago, you were always the last one to arrive.
Don't remind me, okay? Let me tell you my real morning routine because it's honestly a bit of a disaster. My alarm goes off at 7, but here's the thing. I never get up right away. I hit the snooze button and then I hit it again and sometimes a third time.
3 times? That's a lot.
I know. By the time I actually get up, it's usually 7:30, which means I only have 30 minutes before I need to leave the house. So my whole morning becomes this crazy rush. I rush through brushing my teeth, I rush through getting dressed. I don't even sit down for breakfast. I just eat a banana while I'm putting on my shoes.
That sounds so stressful, though. Don't you feel tired and anxious when you start your day like that?
Honestly, yes. I used to think it was just my personality, that I was simply not a morning person and there was nothing I could do about it. But last year I actually tried something new and it helped a little bit.
What did you try?
I started putting my phone alarm on the other side of the room, not next to my bed. So when it rings, I actually have to get up and walk across the room to turn it off. Once I'm standing up, it's much harder to go back to sleep.
That's actually smart. I've heard that trick before, but I never tried it myself.
It works surprisingly well. I still don't jump out of bed with a big smile like you do, but at least I don't hit the snooze button anymore because the alarm isn't close enough to reach.
Well, my story is completely different, and I think it will surprise some of our listeners. I have always been a morning person, ever since I was a child. My mom used to say I would wake up before the sun and just lie in bed quietly, waiting for everyone else to wake up too.
That's actually adorable.
It's a little strange, but it's true. Even now, I wake up around 6, and I don't need an alarm most days. My body just knows it's time. The first thing I do is open the curtains and let the sunlight in. I really believe that light helps your brain wake up faster.
I've read that too, actually. Something about light telling your brain to stop producing sleep hormones.
Exactly. That's the science behind it. After that, I like to ease into the day slowly. I don't rush at all. I make a cup of tea and I sit by the window for about 10 minutes, just thinking or reading a little bit of news.
See, that already sounds like a completely different world compared to my morning.
It really is peaceful. Then I do some light stretching, nothing too intense, just enough to wake up my body. After that, I freshen up, take a shower, and get dressed. I always eat a proper breakfast, too, usually eggs or oatmeal with fruit.
You actually sit down and eat. What a concept.
I know. You'd love that. But here's something interesting, Jack. Even though I'm naturally a morning person, I didn't always have a good routine. When I was in university, my mornings were actually chaotic, too.
Really? I find that hard to believe.
It's true. Back then, I stayed up too late studying, and even though I woke up early, I felt exhausted and unfocused. I would get up, but I wouldn't really feel awake, if that makes sense. My body was up, but my mind was still half asleep.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Being a morning person doesn't automatically mean you have a good routine.
Exactly. The turning point for me was when a friend suggested I create an actual morning routine, step by step, instead of just doing random things every day. So I made a simple list. Wake up, drink water, open the curtains, stretch, shower, breakfast, and then start my work. Having that structure made a huge difference.
That's interesting, because I think my problem is actually the opposite. I don't have any structure at all in the morning. Everything just happens in a panic.
Maybe you should try creating a simple routine too. Even a short one. It doesn't need to be complicated.
You know, I actually did try something like that a few months ago. I decided I wanted to become more of a morning person, or at least a slightly less chaotic one, so I set a goal to wake up at 6:30 instead of 7, thinking the extra time would help me stop rushing.
And how did that go?
For the first 3 days, it was actually a disaster. I woke up at 6:30, but I was so tired that I just sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the wall like a zombie for 15 minutes.
I can picture that so clearly.
But by day 4, something changed. I started going to bed 30 minutes earlier too, and suddenly waking up at 6:30 didn't feel so painful. I actually had time to freshen up properly, make a coffee, and sit for a few minutes before checking my phone.
That's amazing progress, Jack. See, you're not a hopeless night owl after all.
I wouldn't go that far, but I will say my mornings feel less like an emergency now. I still don't jump out of bed excited like you do, but at least I don't feel like I'm running a race against the clock anymore.
That's such an important point, though. A morning routine doesn't have to look the same for everyone. Some people naturally wake up early and feel great, and other people need to build good habits slowly, step by step.
That's very true. I think a lot of our listeners probably fall somewhere between the two of us. Maybe some of them are morning people who struggle with structure, like you were in university, and some of them are night owls trying to change, like me.
Exactly. And that's exactly why this topic is so useful for anyone learning English speaking, because morning routines are something everyone can talk about, no matter their personality or their culture.
True. And it's such a natural conversation topic, too. Talking about morning routines is one of those things that comes up constantly in real conversations, whether you're chatting with a coworker, a classmate, or a new friend.
Which brings us to something important. Let's talk about why morning routines actually matter, not just for productivity, but for language learning too.
Oh, that's a great connection. Tell me more.
Well, think about it. If you build a small English habit into your morning routine, like listening to an English podcast for beginners while you make breakfast, or repeating 5 new phrases while you brush your teeth, you're combining 2 habits together. Your existing routine becomes the reminder for your new English habit.
That's actually brilliant. So instead of trying to find extra time in your day, you attach the new habit to something you already do every morning.
Exactly. I actually do this myself. Every morning while I drink my tea, I read one short paragraph in English, just for a few minutes. It's become such a natural part of my morning routine that I don't even think about it anymore. It just happens.
I might actually try that idea myself. Maybe while I'm rushing through my morning chaos, I could at least listen to some English audio.
See, even rushing mornings can include a little English practice. It doesn't need to be perfect.
That's actually really encouraging for our listeners too, because a lot of people learning English think they need hours of free time to improve, but really, small consistent habits inside your existing routine can make a huge difference over time.
Absolutely. And that's the whole idea behind this 30-day challenge. Small daily steps, a little English every single day. And slowly, your speaking becomes more natural and more confident.
So true. All right, Rose, before we move on, let me ask you one more question. If you could give one single tip to someone who wants to become more of a morning person, what would it be?
I would say don't try to change everything at once. Just move your alarm 10 or 15 minutes earlier, not 2 hours earlier. Small changes are much easier to stick with.
That's really good advice, actually. And if I had to give a tip, I would say keep your phone away from your bed. That one simple change made a bigger difference for me than anything else.
Great tips from both of us. I think our listeners now have a lot of ideas and a lot of new vocabulary to describe their own mornings.
All right, let's go back and reinforce a few of our key phrases from today, because repetition is one of the best ways to learn English speaking fluently.
Let's start with hit the snooze button. Remember, this means pressing your alarm again so it rings later. Here's another example. My brother hits the snooze button so many times that he's always late for school.
Great example. Next, let's look at rush through something. This means doing something too quickly because of limited time. Another example. She rushed through her homework because she woke up late.
Very useful phrase for daily conversation. Now let's revisit ease into the day. This describes starting your day slowly and calmly. Here's a new example. On Sundays, I love to ease into the day with a quiet breakfast and some music.
I really like that phrase. It sounds so relaxing just saying it. Let's finish with a morning person versus a night owl. Remember, a morning person feels energetic early in the day, while a night owl feels more active later at night. New example, my father is such a morning person that he's already exercising by 6, while my sister, a total night owl, is barely awake before 10.
Perfect examples, Jack. These phrases are extremely common in everyday English conversation, so try to use them yourself this week. Talk about your own morning, whether you're a morning person, a night owl, or somewhere in between.
And remember, using new vocabulary in real sentences about your own real life is one of the fastest ways to move from B1 to B2 English. Don't just memorize the words, actually use them.
Now it's your turn, friends. Here's today's practice question. Describe your own morning routine in English right in the comments below. Are you a morning person or a night owl? Do you rush through your morning or do you ease into the day slowly?
Try to use at least 2 of today's phrases in your answer. For example, you could write, I am a morning person, but sometimes I still hit the snooze button once.
Don't worry about making mistakes. This is a safe space to practice. Writing your morning routine in English is a fantastic way to build confidence and improve your speaking skills.
We read every single comment, and we love seeing your progress every day. So take 2 minutes right now and write your answer before you forget.
Thank you, friends, for listening to our today's episode. I hope you learned something from it. Don't miss tomorrow's episode, Day 3 of the B1 to B2 Challenge. Subscribe now so you don't fall behind. See you tomorrow, friends!